when a young couple disappears without a trace. Their small southern town springs into action.
It was a very good relationship. Like, I've never seen any signs of anything other than, you know, them two loving on each other.
So you're saying it's odd for her behavior? I promise you, this is very odd.
The desperate search reveals shocking secrets lurking beneath a glowing facade.
They did argue quite often about other men and him with other girls.
She said, he's saying that this may not be his baby. And I was like, what?
I kind of figured, hey, this is probably him.
The suspect bolts and runs down to the lake.
I could tell how he was looking that, you know, it was bad.
Killer? Me to ask.
Everybody started crying, so I knew then something happened to her.
He stated that a dark cloud had came over him.
She had told him, the baby's here. Why are you doing this?
Even as being a prosecutor for many years, I was still shocked.
March 22nd, 2022. It's just before 9 p.m. in rural Forsyth, Georgia.
Forsyth is a small town about an hour south of Atlanta. It's a very warm and hospitable place, very family-oriented.
Like many Forsyth residents at this time of year, Willie and Latasha Proctor are at home enjoying March Madness.
Me and my wife was sitting, looking at a basketball game, and her phone rang. I look down at it, I see it's Tori.
Oh, Tori's coming over.
Okay. Their 21-year-old daughter, Toriana, said she was coming over to spend the night.
Tori and her fiance, Jadarius, had a 1-month-old baby girl at home.
From time to time, she would stay as she just adjusts to her new lifestyle.
So her parents expected Toriana and the baby home within about 30 minutes or so.
But when an hour passes with no sign of Toriana, her parents assume she changed her mind. That's when Latasha gets a call.
My phone rang. It was like 10, and I went to answer the phone.
Hey, Tori, you still coming? Phone went dead.
And then it just hung up. I was thinking her cell phone died or whatnot. So I tried to call her back, and it just kept ringing.
Still going to voicemail.
I'll try texting her.
I texted her a couple of times, didn't get no answer back. So my wife said, well, maybe when she get where she going, she probably call us back.
And call.
This time, the phone call is coming from Tori's fiance's mom.
Have you heard from Tori or Jadarius?
Jadarius' mother explains that her son dropped off their newborn baby at her home in Macon that evening, but she hasn't heard from him since.
She was like, the baby don't have any milk.
Okay, we'll be right there.
In that instant, I told my husband, we jumped up.
What's wrong?
I just had a bad feeling there, because I know Tori always prepared.
The middle child of 3 siblings, 21-year-old Toriana Proctor loved having family close by.
She was a daddy girl. Everywhere I went, she wanted to be with me. Even out when me and my son practicing football, she wanted to be right there.
Vivacious, outgoing, and smart, Toriana was known for her quick wit.
Just being around her, she's gonna crack a joke. She's gonna keep you laughing regardless of what's going on.
Her laugh was very contagious.
From a young age, Toriana was also a standout athlete.
She was great in softball. I used to have parents all the time come up to me and ask me, where did Tori get her training at? And I would tell them all the time, just me and her.
She was just that girl that took pride in herself and also wanted to bring some type of joy to anybody that she was around.
But nothing made Toriana happier than spending time with her high school sweetheart, Jadarius Quez Watts.
I grew up knowing Jadarius as well, as we like to call him, as Quiz. He was very shy, but he was a very sweet person.
Honestly, it was like love at first sight with him. It was definitely like, that's my boo. And I loved it for her because I know she had a lot of love to give.
She loved herself some Jadarius. On the phone all time of night and first thing in the morning on the phone with him, you know, just that puppy love very much. So puppy love.
In the summer of 2021, Toriana and Jadarius found out they were pregnant with their baby girl.
He said, Dad, I got something to tell you. And she told me that she was pregnant, and I told her, I'm gonna be there for you. Whatever you need me to do, that's what I do.
She did everything the doctor told her to do. She started preparing for her, buying this, buying that. She always wanted to be prepared for whatever came.
She was very excited, and I knew she was gonna be the best mom.
With a baby on the way, the couple was ready to make one more big commitment. Later that year, Jadarius proposed.
She sent me a picture and said, I said yes. She was very happy.
That was one of the things that she always wanted, marriage, a family.
He expressed to me all the time, you know, how he felt about Tori. Trying to make sure that, you know, Tori is taken care of.
In February 2022, Toriana and Jadarius welcomed their daughter, Nalani.
Becoming parents was a huge adjustment for them, but it seemed like they were making it work and approaching things as a team.
They had big dreams. They was doing the best that they could to grow and figure love out.
But now Tori is missing, and her parents have just learned that baby Nalani was left with Jadarius' mother without any milk to drink.
We'll be right there. Come on, we gotta go.
Latasha and Willie are very concerned because they know that Tori would never do something so irresponsible. That leaves a lot of concern for her parents, so they decide to get in their car and drive 30 minutes to Macon to figure out exactly what's going on.
Thanks so much for coming. She's sleeping right now, but she'll be hungry when she wakes up.
Jadarius' mother tells the Proctors he dropped the baby off around 11 p.m.
She said he had stopped by the house for approximately 2 minutes and dropped the newborn baby off and told his mother that they were out of formula, and then he left.
He didn't give any indication of why he needed his mother to watch the baby or where he was going.
I'm talking with Jadarius' mom, and she's like, I don't know what's going on. Jadarius, he's not answering my phone call.
Tori's parents offer to take the baby back with them to Monroe County and get her some formula on the way.
Back in Forsyth, they do a drive-by by the couple's apartment.
The couple's car, a black sedan, is nowhere to be found.
We call 911 to do a wellness check and just see if they can try to get into the apartment.
Just before 2 a.m., Forsyth police officers meet the Proctors at the apartment complex.
We've been trying to get in touch with her. She had called us earlier and told us that she was on her way home. So she don't live here. Back and forth.
Tori's parents explained that the pressure of becoming new parents had been a lot for her and Jadarius.
Becoming a mom and actually birthing a child, it shifted her mindset. Like, it's not just me and what I can settle and deal with. I want the best for my child.
I didn't try to pry too much. I'm like, you're more than welcome. My house is always open to any of my children.
The parents tell the police that there is no sign of the car. They also inform them that neither of them have been answering their phones.
It's just not like her.
Can police locate the missing couple before it's too late?
So then it really just kicked in. Hey, we gotta find her. Something really wrong.
Wait, they found them?
The mountain is calling.
21-year-old Toriana Proctor had just started a family with her high school sweetheart turned fiancé, Jadarius Watts, in rural Forsyth, Georgia.
She definitely wanted a kid. She wanted a few of them. She definitely wanted to be married, and I was so happy. Like, she was happy.
But now, both Toriana and Jadarius are missing. And even though it's only been a few hours, her family has connected with Forsyth police, telling them something seems dreadfully wrong.
It's just not like her to leave her baby.
Sharing their concerns, officers trek up to the second-floor apartment and knock on the door.
841 on. See if you have a 21 for this apartment.
They knocked on the door and said, nobody answering.
So you're saying this odd for her behavior?
I promise you, this is very odd.
Me and my wife kept telling her, no, this is not like Tori. You know, if we calling her, she calling us right back.
However, Forsyth police tell Tori's parents there's nothing more they can do for now.
They told us by the fact that Tori was an adult, that adult can be missing. They was like, she old enough to be gone if she want to.
They tell the parents that they have to wait a full 24 hours before they can do a true missing persons investigation.
And it started drizzling, raining, and we have a 1-month-old baby in the car. Like, we got to get her home, get her out this, this weather.
Tori's parents return home, determined to continue the search on their own.
I really felt defeated. Like, what can I do? Who can I call?
Hey, have you seen or heard from Tori today?
The Proctors start calling family and friends.
Okay, well, give me a call if you hear from her.
Her mother had like a little bit of panic in her voice saying, Tori was supposed to come home last night. She didn't come home. Have you heard from her? Is she over here with you? I'm like, So that's when I just called out the work, called my supervisor, said, hey, my friend is missing. I'm just gonna go and try to help see what's going on.
I could hear my sister on the phone saying she can't find Tori. I got just like a little tightness in my chest and said a little prayer.
It started getting daybreak. I told my wife then, I said, well, maybe we need to call the sheriff department.
At the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, we don't have a timeline. If you feel that a family member is in need of help, then we're gonna help right away.
At 8 a.m., Latasha calls the sheriff's office and explains that her daughter has been missing for nearly 12 hours.
Monroe County officers immediately respond to the Proctor's home to take a statement.
The Proctor family explained to me that their daughter had been missing since yesterday.
Most crimes aren't random, and with missing person cases, typically you start with the people closest to them and then work your way out. So at this point, the police decide that they need to learn everything they can about Tori and Jadarius' relationship.
Everything leading up until a couple months before the baby was born, they were okay. She talked to me. I know she wouldn't tell me everything, but she talked to me to let me, I guess to assure me that everything was okay.
However, as Toriana's due date drew nearer, she made a shocking confession.
She just cried, and she was like, Quiz hit me.
When I was
lead to murder? All new.
In Georgia, it is illegal for a law enforcement agency to mandate a minimum waiting period before initiating a missing person report. However, it remains within the discretion of each agency to determine whether or not a reasonable time has passed. For adults, this usually necessitates suspicious circumstances. After telling her parents she was on the way to their home, Toriana Proctor and her fiancé, Jadarius Watts, have been missing for nearly 12 hours.
In my mind, I was just more so of like, Lord, I know we gonna find her. She gonna be all right. But we was looking, we didn't find the car, we didn't find her, we didn't find him.
And in speaking with Toriana's parents, police are learning that her relationship with Jadarius wasn't as rosy as it looked on the outside.
She was at the end of her pregnancy. She was just crying. I'm like, Tori, what's going on? You okay? And she was like, Quiz hit me.
Tori was the person like, what I say, I mean what I say, I'm serious, I stand on what I say. So an incident took place, it wasn't good, you know.
And so I was trying to talk to her, please, Tori, talk to me, talk to me, talk to me. And she just cried and just cried and just cried.
Tori's family admits they were surprised by the recent outbursts. They'd known Jadarius for years, and until recently had never seen this angry side of him.
He seemed like, you know, a great guy. Matter of fact, his dad and I are classmates. I knew about them as being, you know, religious people.
Regardless, Toriana's parents encouraged her to take a stand.
So I told her, I want you to get all your stuff and come on back home. And she was like, you know, that's what I'm gonna do.
But Toriana couldn't stay away from Jadarius for long.
He called a couple days later or whatnot. They talked, they reconciled, you know, she's back. So it was like a back and forth, back and forth. It was those instances when, you know, he got mad, she got mad, you know, but the next day, you know, they're talking again, all, you know, puppy love again.
After baby Nalani was born, the roller coaster relationship continued.
Jadarius admitted he was having a hard time with the baby. And he thought that maybe the baby wasn't his.
She said, he's saying that this may not be his baby. And I was like, what? I said, long y'all been together?
Tori was completely heartbroken by this. She insists that she had never given him any reason to believe that she had been unfaithful to him.
This is just something that came out the blue. The whole time that they've been, you know, dealing with each other, this never been an issue.
On March 4th, Toriana became so fed up with the accusations that she decided to take Nalani and move back in with her parents.
She had brought all her clothes home. She had brought all the baby clothes home. She was like, Mom, I'm tired. She said, I'm done.
For 2 weeks, Tori welcomed the help of her parents and the familiarity of her family home, while maintaining a friendly co-parenting relationship with Jadarius.
I could tell she was happy again. She was herself again when she moved back home.
I didn't ask her too many questions because I didn't want her to feel like I was, you know, just meddling in her business. I was happy that her and the baby were there. I knew where they was and I knew they were safe.
But just as things were calming down for Tori, she got a call from Jadarius that his mom was sick and he needed her support.
Jadarius called Tori and let her know that his mom had a stroke.
She said that Quiz didn't want to be by himself. She wanted to stay, you know, and console him.
With the baby in tow, Tori spent that night at Jadarius' mother's home in Macon.
His mother had to go to the hospital, so she just wanted to support him, so that's what she did.
The following morning, Jadarius accompanied Tori to her postpartum checkup back in Forsyth.
That next day, she said that he was taking her, you know, to her doctor's appointment. She went to her checkup, and she called FaceTime me on the way back. She was excited, you know, she said they released her.
The parents were really hopeful that this would be a new start for them.
But then, 6 hours later, Toriana sent the text about staying at her parents' house that night.
Oh, Tori's coming over.
Okay.
And although they didn't think much of it at the time, they're now fearing the worst.
Monroe County investigators shared the family's concerns.
The police take descriptions of the couple as well as the car and issue a BOLO.
They also get permission to start tracking Tori's cell phone.
Emergency pings can be conducted at any time when an officer feels there's an exigent circumstance to conduct one.
And in conducting the ping on Toriana's phone, the investigators immediately hit pay dirt.
It was literally 3 to 4 minutes from her house. We had to immediately, take action.
Monroe County Sheriff's deputies are trying to track down missing 21-year-old mother, Toriana Proctor. And they've just traced her cell phone to a location only 5 miles from home.
It was literally 3 to 4 minutes from her house.
It's kind of out in the county, rural area. You had cow pastures and ponds. We all started looking for that phone.
Made up of law enforcement and family, the search party strategically scans the area for any signs of what could have taken Tori off course so close to home.
I was at home with the baby, and it's heart dropping, not knowing, if she's okay, not knowing if I would see her. A lot of thoughts ran through my head.
Just calling her name out, like, Lord, don't let me find her in the woods.
Then, just before noon, officers receive a call from dispatch.
This is Lieutenant Beck.
We were able to get a ping then for Mr. Watts' cell phone and also the vehicle.
Police receive a hit that the car is about 30 minutes away at a location called Lake Juliet.
It was in the parking lot of the boat landing.
The boat ramp in Monroe County was a pretty decent little ways away from where we were at the time.
We're on the way now. We got a line on him. Let's go.
Monroe County officers race to Lake Juliet.
They're really wondering how the couple could have ended up way out there and really concerned about what they're going to find when they pull up.
When I first pulled into the boat ramp, I immediately saw a black car down toward the end of the parking lot, down toward the water.
They see a young black man sitting in the driver's seat, but it's unclear if anyone else is around.
At that point, I kind of figured, hey, this is probably him. I couldn't really see inside the car. The windows were kind of dark. The car was dark. And as I was putting my car in the park to get out to look in the car, he got out of the driver's seat and began walking to the front of his car.
Jadarius Watts! Jadarius Watts, put your hands up!
He had his hands in his pockets, and so I asked him to take his hands out of his pockets. I kind of grabbed his jacket, and I began to pat him down to make sure he didn't have any weapons on him.
Just then, another unit arrives for backup.
When I pulled up to the boat landing, they were outside of the car. They had the suspect outside speaking with them.
When Jadarius notices the other squad car, his demeanor suddenly changes from passive to panicked.
Once he saw them, he came out of his jacket, just flung around out of the jacket and took off running.
The suspect bolts and he runs to the dock, jumps in the water. We all go down to the dock. As he hits the water, he immediately turns around and asks for help because he cannot swim.
Help! He is near drowning as the police are able to recover and pull him out of the water.
Come on, man, come on!
I got down on my hands and knees, put my right hand out, grabbed him, and picked him up and pulled him up out of the water. It's kind of like something you would see off TV, you know. When he got up out of the water, they placed him in handcuffs.
Listen, buddy. Listen. Roll over on your side.
We put you at notice to keep you from doing what you just did. I'll never forget, he just kept saying, hey, y'all put me down. Man, just take me out. Just put me down.
Listen to me. All this ain't necessary, okay? You hear me?
They put me down.
I need to know where your girlfriend is.
At this point, I'm thinking, hey, he's done something. You don't run for anything.
And finally, Jadarius reveals where they can find Toriana.
See in the car, they put me down.
Monroe County Sheriff's deputies have just apprehended 22-year-old Jadarius Watts after his shocking leap into Lake Juliet.
It was just an escape route for him to try to get away from us as quick as possible.
He could not swim, so he started begging for help. They pulled him out, and we had that all on body cam.
Man, come on, you good, bro? All right, let's calm down.
Police immediately asked Jadarius about his missing fiancée, Toriana Proctor.
I need to know where your girlfriend is.
I said, "Where's Tori? Where's your girlfriend? Where's your girlfriend?" And eventually he said, "She's in the back seat of the car."
She in the car, just put me down. Kill her? Just put me down, sir.
Did you kill her?
Just put me down.
Sir, listen, buddy, we're trying to talk to you. Come on, buddy. 3 of us around. All right, come on, let's go.
At that point, I ran to the vehicle. I located Miss Proctor there under a large comforter. She was laying down across the back seat.
You could tell that she was deceased at the time.
All right, put him in your car. Get him some crime scene tape.
We kind of had all hands on deck at this point. So we taped the scene off there so they could get pictures and aerial views of that scene.
Jadarius Watts was taken into custody.
I'm just going to tell you something. You do got the right to remain silent. Anything you say could be used against you in court.
I said, "Hey, I need to read you your rights and talk to you a little bit because you are in handcuffs. And at this point, you are under arrest."
Meanwhile, Toriana's loved ones are still at the initial search site.
I guess the hardest part was that the family was actually able to hear my radio traffic.
Anthony, we found him.
For a family desperately wanting answers, the commotion on the police radio is impossible to ignore.
Wait, they found them? They had found the black car, which, you know, at that moment we got excited, you know, where they at, you know, is they okay? And then at that next moment we heard him say, Jadarius just jumped in the water.
Wait, what's going on? I kind of got silent because I'm like, why would he jump in the water? As if, you know, he was hiding something.
They were asking for constant updates, what's happening, what's going on. So at that point, the scene became a little more hectic.
I'm not thinking she deceased. I'm just thinking she's in the car with something, you know, maybe she's in the car hurt.
I actually called Lieutenant Thompson on the phone and I was like, hey, I need an update on her status because I knew if it was one of my family members, I would want to know as soon as possible. I got to tell the family something.
I looked at him and I could tell how he was looking that, you know, it was bad.
Once she had been located deceased in the back of the car, I portrayed that news.
I'm so sorry that they found Tori deceased.
I just, you know, that was the worst day of my life.
Everybody started crying. And then that's when we all went back to the house to inform her mother that he killed her.
My first instinct was Nalani. Her mom is gone. It was definitely a battle because my heart is conflicted between, you know, losing my daughter and then the person that actually took her life was in our life for so long. Never in a million years would I have thought that he would do this to my baby. Never.
Back at the lake, officers searching the car learned Jadarius may have been planning to take his own life after taking Toriana's.
They find a handwritten letter inside the vehicle.
He had written a suicide letter stating that they had both done things wrong.
He said, I'm sorry it had to be like this, but sometimes things happen in life that shouldn't happen.
The letter made it seem like he wasn't really taking full ownership of what he'd done.
But why did he do it?
I just kind of asked him, you know, what all had taken place and, you know, if he was responsible for Tori's death.
What'd you do to him?
That's when Jadarius makes a chilling admission.
So
I couldn't believe that he had did that because Jadarius, he did become part of the family. We did stuff. We went on trips, vacations. Toriana actually started the gathering when we would come together on Christmas Eve. We exchanged gifts, played games, you know, that type of stuff. That's the crazy thing. He was a good dude. He's a stand-up guy. He's going in the right direction. And then all of a sudden, you turn into this person.
Tonight?
Officers with the Monroe County Sheriff's Office have just arrested 22-year-old Jadarius of his child, Toriana Proctor.
What'd you do to him? Can you take me to where it happened? Yes.
Jadarius agrees to return to the scene of the crime, and on the way, he reveals more details about what happened.
They took Mr. Watts out to the scene where they had last heard Toriana's phone ping.
He told me they did argue quite often about other men and him with other girls. So there was definitely some jealousy and things of that nature going on in a relationship.
So everything happened in the car?
Yes.
He told me that they were going back to Tori's house and an argument ensued. He didn't remember the road name. He just remembered he pulled off a road.
We were able to draw the conclusion that that phone call that was made just after 9 p.m., I believe personally that was her calling for help. And he snatched the phone from her, threw it into the woods.
You think you threw it over here? Yeah. Where this pond is?
That's when we knew we were in the right area, and we continued the search and actually later on located the actual cell phone.
After Jadarius is taken to the sheriff's office, he changes into dry clothes and sits down to speak with homicide investigators.
You're not influencing the alcohol or drugs currently right now. If you are, you are. I mean, it's no big deal. I tried to overdose today. Feel okay now, though?
The investigators read Jadarius's rights, and at that point, he decides he's said enough.
All right. Having these rights in mind, you wish to talk to me? I talked to my lawyer. You want to talk to your lawyer? Okay. All right, buddy, we can't talk to you no more.
Regardless, Jadarius's previous confession permits officers to take him straight to jail.
Jadarius Watts was charged with murder, kidnapping, aggravated assault, and obstruction of an officer.
The following day, on what would have been Tori's 22nd birthday, her friends and family gather for a celebration of life.
The day she went missing was the day before her birthday. We actually got together on her birthday. We did a balloon release, did like a big, happy birthday, we miss you thing for her.
It's touched my heart. I know she touched a lot of people within the community. I'm always going to be grateful for my family and friends for being there with me on that day.
The loss is tough to process, but made easier by the fact that Tori's killer is behind bars.
We clearly had evidence of Mr. Watts being the person responsible.
There was really no reason for him to go to trial because he had admitted to the act and he was the only person with Toriana at the time.
However, Jadarius opts to take his chances in front of a jury.
Despite Jadarius's confession, he enters a plea of not guilty.
And on October 2nd, 2023, his trial begins in a Monroe County courtroom.
We were unclear what his defense was going to be. We thought that he may try to say that this was in the heat of the moment, which could lend him a voluntary manslaughter conviction instead of a murder conviction.
But everyone, including the prosecution, is surprised when Jadarius takes the stand.
His attorney asked what happened when he turned down Brownlee Road with Toriana and the baby, and Mr. Watts said, "I murdered her."
The guilt must have gotten to him because he completely flipped the script on his defense team and confessed to everything.
He continued to take the route that he had done what he had done and that she was not to blame for it.
Jadarius admits he had deep insecurities about his relationship with Tori.
His lawyer was asking, why did you do this? Oh, I didn't think the baby was mine. Oh, she was cheating. I'm just like, you knew the baby was yours. She did look like him.
But Jadarius couldn't let go of his suspicions, and it seemed the stress of having a baby turned his petty accusations into rage.
Their relationship appeared to be a great relationship from the outside, but pregnancy had seemed to change that for some reason. When she became pregnant with their child, he became extremely controlling and demanding on whether or not the child was his, even though he had no reason to believe that.
On the night of March 22nd, Jadarius and Toriana got into another argument about the paternity of the baby during their car ride to her parents' house.
The argument got so heated that Jadarius pulled over.
I don't think Toriana had any idea what was going to happen until the defendant turned down that road.
He stated that a dark cloud had came over him.
She realized something had gone terribly wrong, and it was at that point that she tried to call her mom for help.
Jadarius grabbed the phone from her, ending the call and hurling it into the darkness.
When Tori made an effort to get out of the car, he reached over and grabbed her, and at that point, he choked her to death.
It was hard hearing it. It was hard hearing that she had told him that, you know, the baby's here. Why are you doing this? And it hurt me to hear that, knowing that that was my daughter's last word.
From there, Jadarius says he looked at Tori's lifeless body and panicked.
He admitted that he had gone to the apartment to get a comforter that he put over Toriana's body to conceal her body as he drove around Monroe County.
Jadarius dropped off baby Nalani at his mother's house in Macon before driving to Lake Juliet.
He just got overwhelmed, and that's when he decided to take off towards the lake.
But not before grabbing a late-night snack.
On the way from his mother's house to Lake Juliet, he actually made a quick pit stop at a Waffle House.
It's kind of shocking he even had an appetite after what he'd done.
The courtroom is stunned by the brutally honest testimony.
Even as being a prosecutor for many years, I was still shocked.
After a 2-day trial, it takes the jury less than an hour to return their verdict. Guilty on all charges.
He is sentenced to life without parole.
I wholeheartedly feel like he loved her. He still do. And I wholeheartedly feel like he's sorry. And it's just something that him and God got to work on. But I pray for him. I pray that people find forgiveness towards him.
We did get justice for her, even though that cannot bring her back or whatnot. But he would have to suffer the consequences of his actions, and that's what we wanted.
Toriana's parents have since adopted her daughter, and Nalani is now growing up surrounded by a large and loving family.
I'm happy she with us. I wouldn't want her to be no other place, but I'm also sad that my daughter don't get a chance to see the stuff that we see.
I just want to let anybody know who's watching this show that if you're going through anything that's similar to Toriana's story, to speak up, whether you tell a family member, a friend, call a counselor, anybody that you can get a hold of. Just don't let it be too late.
It's always a way that you can find peace again and get your life back. Show yourself grace. When it's time to drop somebody off, you drop them off and you don't look back.
Abuse is never okay. If you or someone you love is in an abusive relationship, there is help available. Call the Domestic Violence Hotline.
Anthony was a great person, man, kind-hearted, loved his kids, and he'll give you the shirt off his back. When we got the news, I got to like a corner, and I just balled up, man, and was just crying, because I couldn't believe it.
He spotted someone sort of pop out from behind the house wearing all black.
Multiple gunshots ring out, followed by the sound of screeching tires.
He felt very disrespected, and so he wanted revenge.
He's been humiliated. You've got to retaliate.
He was so angry, so bent on getting one guy that he didn't care who else had to get hurt.
I found it pretty chilling. He showed absolutely no remorse.
The city of Rock Hill, South Carolina, sits just 20 miles south of Charlotte.
The Rock Hill community is grown up around the downtown area, and then, of course, neighborhoods keep building out of that. And so the neighborhoods closest to downtown are the oldest ones, and then things that begin to push out towards York and Charlotte and Fort Mill, some of the newer, more modern type neighborhoods. But overall, the whole community is very focused on sports, athletics, great school system, lots of parks and playgrounds, and generally a really great place to raise a family.
On August 9th, 2015, it's around 11 p.m. when multiple calls come into the Rock Hill Police Department's 911 dispatch center.
At this time, the neighbors heard 8 to 9 gunshots ringing out. No one knows what's going on. It's chaos on the scene.
Noise complaints are extremely frequent, especially in the Frank Street area. Hearing gunshots also is not infrequent, even if it's just something innocent like someone shooting in their backyard for fun. But in this case, the noise complaint coincided with gunshots. There happened to be other officers nearby who heard those as well.
And they heard multiple gunshots ring out, followed by the sound of screeching tires.
The officers who are already close by are able to get over to Frank Street pretty quickly.
There were quite a number of people around the victim who was in the front yard.
They find a man laying in the grass, face first, bleeding from his head with an apparent gunshot wound.
He was shot twice, once in his arm and once in the head.
It appeared he saw the shooter and threw up his arms to block the shot, but when he was shot in the head, he immediately went down.
They located a faint pulse on him. He was still alive at the scene at the time.
They roll him over to administer first aid, and they find the gun underneath him.
The gun was just lying between him and the ground. It was a handgun, so it was pretty clear that he had either been holding it or it had fallen out of his waistband where he fell. But they did just treat him right there until the medics arrived.
Since the .380 caliber gun was found underneath Anthony, police think that he was carrying it.
They didn't know exactly what had happened, but one, it's not unusual for people in that neighborhood to carry weapons for protection, and two, it could have easily been assumed that he and another person were possibly shooting at each other. They wouldn't have known that until they got the area cleared and were able to begin searching for spent shell casings. He also had his South Carolina identification in his pocket.
The man is identified as 30-year-old Anthony DeMond Hart.
The victim's still alive. They're trying to work him, trying to save him. He is transported to a hospital in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Many of the people who are out in the street know Anthony, and so word gets around pretty quickly.
They called me and it was like, man, Anthony just got shot. I was like, what? So, like I said, I got the keys, took off to the hospital. His friends was there and family was there. It was kind of a couple laughs at first, just joking about things in the past, but because we didn't know the severity of it.
Anthony Hart was born on August 12, 1984.
Anthony was born and raised in Rock Hill. He lived there his whole life.
He got a little brother. He kind of took him under his wing. You know how it is growing up with sisters and brothers. You yelling at them and fussing and fighting. You know, it's always yelling. Somebody yelling at somebody. Anthony act just like his father. His father is loud, just like Anthony was loud. His mother, she was laid back. We met in high school. If I could describe him with one word, it'd be loud. You knew Anthony was somewhere nearby and didn't even see him, but you heard him.
Anthony had a lot of friends. He played sports and his mom's house was always filled. He had a lot of personality and a really big heart.
The list goes on with very kind, hard moments he did, and he'll give you the shirt off his back. Me and Anthony graduated in 2002. Anthony went straight into the work field. We both did, kind of started working right after high school. When it came down to it, to pay the bills, we were hard workers.
He became a father in his early 20s, and then he went on to have 2 more kids.
He has 2 boys and a little girl. He loved his children. He was a great family man. He was a great father.
Anthony eventually went to school to be an electrician. He thought that would be a good career and he would be able to support his kids. So when he wasn't with his kids or working, he liked to hang out with his friends in the neighborhood.
In our free time, we played cards. We loved to gamble. We might gamble on who walking in the door next. But it was mainly cards, dice, stuff like that, football games. We would gamble on anything.
He was a good guy who worked hard and kept a low profile. He loved his kids and would help anyone who needed it.
He was one of those guys that you just wouldn't expect to have no drama, no beef.
On the night of August 9th, 2015, word that Anthony had been shot shocks his friends and family. They gather at a hospital in Charlotte, where they wait for an update.
Mama and Daddy, they were there, because we didn't know, the situation at first. Everybody kind of was filling in what was going on, so I kind of got filled in when I got there.
Anthony was shot in his left temple and twice in his left forearm. Apparently, Anthony was trying to block the shots with his forearm, and Anthony then died not long after he arrived at the hospital. The shot to the temple proved fatal.
When we got the news that he had passed away, man, it was just like chaos everywhere. Everybody started screaming and crying. I remember me personally, I got to like a corner and I just balled up, man, and was just crying because I couldn't believe it. We just all just broke. It was terrifying.
Back in Rock Hill, homicide detectives arrive on Frank Street.
I do not know exactly if it was during transport or very shortly after. I remember that we had not been on the scene all that long before we were notified that he had died.
This seemed as a regular shooting call, but after he died, it took it to a whole different level. It was now a homicide case.
We located 7 shell casings that were of a .22 caliber. They were all near the back of the house, though. There were none near Anthony or his where he fell. The shooting had happened from sort of the backside of the house towards the side of it, which would have given a direct line of sight to the roadway where he was located.
The casings looked like they were from some type of long gun or rifle. They all appeared to come from the same weapon.
But not from the .380 found underneath Anthony.
It was apparent that his weapon had not been fired. It was fully loaded. There were obviously no spent casings around him.
It was pretty clear that he was carrying a gun, probably for his own protection, but he never had a chance to fire it in his defense.
Police speak with the witnesses.
People had fled the area after the shooting happened for fear of their safety. But there were quite a number of people who had been inside the home there playing some cards that night, just hanging out, sort of having a kickback, as they call it. And they were all mostly outside looking at the situation.
One of them is a man named Roderick Wright.
Mr. Wright was just a longtime friend of the victim, Mr. Hart, and he was another one of the persons there that evening playing cards and hanging out.
Roderick tells investigators that Anthony had also been in the house.
So they were just generally hanging out that evening. I don't know how long they had been playing, but at some point he stepped outside, I guess, to get some fresh air.
Roderick went with him.
He was speaking with his friend Roderick Wright, and they were just catching up outside the home where there was a card game going on.
And as they were speaking, Roderick spotted someone sort of pop out from behind the back of the house, wearing all black.
It seemed weird, and it put both of them on edge.
He saw that person step back behind the house, and he said to Mr. Hart, let's go back inside. They began to walk back into the house out of concern for this man that he saw in the shadows.
So Anthony hesitated for a minute, and then he said, I got to get something out of my car.
Anthony went to his vehicle. We don't know for sure what he did, but our assumption is that he got his handgun out of the vehicle to protect himself and his friend as they were then going to go back inside the house where they would feel more safe. And then they were turning to go walk back inside.
Before they could get inside, the man reemerged.
This man stepped back out from the side of the house again and indiscriminately opened fire.
There was just gunshots, one after the other, just out of the blue.
Rock Hill, South Carolina police are investigating the shooting death of 30-year-old Anthony Hart. Investigators on the scene speak with Anthony's friend and witness to the shooting, Roderick Wright.
A man came from the side of the house, dressed in all black, just opened up fire to start shooting, and he said he panicked and fled the scene.
He was definitely on edge and scared and had gotten his car and sped away. So it was a very traumatic moment for him.
The witness stated that he fled from the scene in fear of getting shot himself. So as soon as he heard that the coast was clear, he came back.
Roderick's statement helps investigators develop a theory.
If someone is dressed in all black with a weapon, sneaking up behind the house, the theories would then be that they were there to intentionally rob or kill someone. It wasn't a random act of violence. It wasn't like an argument that went sideways. And because there was a card game going on inside the house where money was being used in the betting, it was assumed that possibly the suspect was there to rob the people of their money at the card game.
Other witnesses who'd been at the card game report that one man left early and angry.
Sean Durham had been at the card game and lost his money and left angry and upset that he had lost the money. And it was assumed that he had come back to rob everyone to take back his money. That was the initial rumor that was circulating in the streets, and we heard that from many different people that night.
But Roderick can't say one way or another whether Sean was the shooter.
Roderick was only able to say that the suspect was wearing all black because the backside of those houses on Frank Street is very dark, especially that late at night. Very few of them have any back porch lights. And so it would have been pitch black, and Roderick would have been looking from a well-lit position in the street into darkness, and so he would not have been able to give any sort of a positive identification of the shooter.
They actually find Sean and talk to him. He admits that he left angry, but insists that he had nothing to do with the murder. He says that he went to a friend's house and stayed there the rest of the night.
Sean is still a suspect this time, but he could be lying about his alibi, so this time he's just a person of interest.
There's nothing connecting him to the shooting. No proof.
Detectives plan to follow up on Sean's alibi. In the meantime, more tips come in.
Investigators learned about a shooting that happened a week prior, and they said figuring out that this could be connected to the shooting.
On August 2nd, a man opened fire on a home on Frank Street, just 3 houses down from the scene of Anthony's shooting.
A male subject came in the evening, stood in the front yard, and opened fire into the house through the front windows of the house.
There were 9 people inside the home. Based on witness statements of individuals inside the home, it appears that one of the first or second rounds caused the blinds, the window dressings to fall. There were 2 small children, toddlers really, who were playing in the floor of the living room. He continued to fire multiple rounds into the house before fleeing the scene.
There were several people at home at the time, including a grandmother, a pregnant woman, and children.
Somehow, no one was killed.
The shooting was immediately reported by the family that lived there. The male subject inside had either been grazed by a bullet or by glass, and so he needed some medical treatment. The family was clearly traumatized by the shooting.
Investigators identified a suspect in the shooting.
One of the residents of that home. She did not know his name, but she knew him to go by Q.
The next day, by utilizing the nicknames that had been given to us, we were able to produce a photo lineup, go back to the family, and one of the young women was willing to cooperate with us and identify him as the shooter.
They learned that his real name is Quinteris Miller, and he was just 17 years old.
Based on her identification and the other evidence collected in the investigation, Miller was charged with those 9 counts of attempted murder and discharging a firearm into dwelling. Police were able to obtain warrants for his arrest on those charges, but he evaded police.
We knew that through tips that he had gone back to Chester and was in hiding. And so we contacted the City of Chester Police and the Chester County Sheriff's Department, and let them know that he was wanted for an attempted murder, and they began doing surveillance and looking for him.
There's no clear connection between these two incidents, just rumors.
When we see these crimes happen in the neighborhoods, we know that there are witnesses, but oftentimes people don't want to speak up because of their distrust for law enforcement, for one, and that relationship has been strained. In addition to that, they're fearful of retaliation.
You have 2 shootings just a few houses away from each other within a week. Are they connected? The only way to find out is to find Quinteris and talk to him.
Anthony seemed like an all-around great guy. He was not someone that the police dealt with. His family was very kind and cooperative, and overall it was a situation where a truly innocent person had been killed and needed justice. I met with Anthony's family shortly after the shooting because, of course, we wanted to know if Anthony had any problems with other people who might have been there to intentionally target and hurt him. And of course, the family couldn't think of any reasons at all why someone would want to hurt their son. Early in the investigation, especially that night, there were not many working theories for us to run with, particularly after Roderick came and said that he saw the shooter behind the house. That set up a situation that was something like an ambush.
After 30-year-old Anthony Hart dies during a shooting in his Rock Hill neighborhood, police look to question the suspect in another shooting, Quinteris Miller.
He allegedly shot into a house full of people, which included a toddler and a senior citizen. There's a warrant for his arrest now, but now he's on the run.
Word on the street is that the 2 shootings are connected.
People are saying that the same person who shot up the house shot Anthony, but police don't know if that's true, and if that's true, what the connection might be.
As police continue to hunt for Quinteris, they take a closer look at the first shooting.
The family did tell us that it happened probably because of the fight that took place there in their front yard earlier that day. The family made the connection for us because they knew that Quinteris was present at both incidents.
On August 2nd, a man by the name of Swadarius Beatty got into an argument or a fight of some sort with his girlfriend at the time.
Beatty's girlfriend is Quinteris Miller's sister.
He received a call from his sister that she was there, and so he went over there to help protect his sister.
Quinteris Miller arrived on Frank Street with a group of other people to confront Mr. Beatty about the altercation with his sister. During that confrontation, things escalated.
A young woman got out some pepper spray, and she sprayed Quinteris' sister and everyone who was in her car. Quinteris got mad about that and hit the pepper spray out of the young woman's hand. Well, that was Beatty's sister, so Beatty got mad and attacked Quinteris with the brick.
Suddenly, Beatty hits him in the face with a brick and knocks him unconscious.
began to, again, hit Quinteris more times while he was unconscious.
The witness goes on to tell police that some good Samaritans jumped in to help.
There were two individuals about 2 houses down, a father and son, who were sitting on their porch and observing this go down in front of the houses on Frank Street. And after Mr. Miller had been knocked unconscious, Beatty was on top of him and continued to assault him. These two men got up and ran to help Mr. Miller, and they were able to effectively get Beatty off of him.
Anthony and his dad ran over and broke up the fight. And then Quinteris' sister and their friends were able to drag him into a car and get him out of there. No one was charged for anything that took place there because all the parties did not want to cooperate or press charges.
Rumor has it that Quinteris left the incident humiliated.
Beatty essentially got the best of Mr. Miller.
He felt very disrespected by the fact that he had been hit with the brick, and so he wanted revenge.
So at this point, Quinteris is embarrassed. He's been humiliated. Here you've come to help your sister, but you underestimated what you were walking into. So you expected to come in and save your sister, but instead, really someone had to save you. So now he's got to figure out what is he going to do to eliminate that, to make sure that he's not going to be made fun of, that people are not going to lose respect for him. Because oftentimes that's what it's about. It's about respect and whether someone's going to challenge you or not. You've got to come back and make sure that you reestablish and retaliate for what has happened to you.
Miller returns to Frank Street and he approaches the house there, and standing approximately 10 feet from the living room window, he opens fire with a pistol into the home.
Swaderis lived in that home with several family members, so it's suspected that Quinteris was just shooting into the home hoping to hit Swaderis. It's clear what happened there that day, but what does any of this have to do with Anthony Hart?
On August 13th, we got an anonymous tip.
The tipster says she overheard a disturbing conversation between Quinteris and two other men, Gabriel Mobley and Xavier Thompson, the night before Anthony's murder.
She heard the Miller and the others discussing what he had on his mind that night, that he needed a rifle to hit a lick, which is a term that essentially means that he wants to commit some sort of crime.
Gabriel says his brother has a rifle that he offers to Quinteris.
Gabriel Mobley retrieved the gun from inside the house and gave it to Mr. Miller.
The tipster says the men left the house immediately.
All three young men, Gabriel, Xavier, and Quinteris, left with the gun towards Frank Street.
Moments later, the tipster says she heard gunfire.
Witnesses say she heard gunshots. We know that this is the same day and time that Anthony was shot. And we know that three men headed in the same direction. And this is the same gun that killed Anthony.
Investigators are on the hunt for 17-year-old Quinteris Miller, a suspect in multiple crimes, including the murder of Anthony Hart.
A tipster tells police that Gabriel Mobley gave Quinteris a rifle that he may have used to kill Anthony. So they searched his home.
Because he was on probation, we had the right to search him and his house based on this tip that we got. And so we searched the house thoroughly and we found a box of .22 caliber ammunition that had been intentionally hidden in the bathroom.
After searching the home, investigators found the bullets that matches the crime scene, but they don't find the gun that killed Anthony Hart.
He could not possess any ammunition at the time, so he was in trouble for that on the probation side of things.
They're getting closer, but there's still so many unanswered questions. Like, why would Quinteris kill Anthony? It just made no sense.
Then, on August 19th, investigators get the chance to ask him.
We knew that through tips that he had gone back to Chester and was in hiding. And so we contacted the City of Chester Police and the Chester County Sheriff's Department, let them know that he was wanted for an attempted murder, and they began doing surveillance and looking for him.
Quinteris was arrested in Chester then transported to Rock Hill Police Department.
They spotted him getting into a car in downtown Chester. They just simply pulled him over and he gave no problems. They arrested him and transported him up to Rock Hill for us.
At that point, Quinteris was arrested for attempted murder charges for shooting up the house.
Quinteris agrees to an interview.
He freely told us about the fight that happened in the morning, but then he denied having come back to shoot up Mr. Beatty's house that evening.
He denies involvement in any of the shootings.
Instead, he offers up an alibi.
He denied any involvement, but he did admit that he was in Rock Hill that day, that he was with the Mobleys, and he had claimed that he was playing video games with Gabriel Mobley at the time of the shooting.
And then once we got to the questioning of the murder, he requested a lawyer and he ended the interview and did not discuss that at all. We informed the family of updates of the case as it was going along. So once we had arrested Quinteris for the first shooting, that's when we spoke to the family.
Anthony's dad is familiar with the house where Quinteris allegedly opened fire after the fight.
He and Anthony had friends who lived a couple of houses down from where the incident took place.
It was a very common place for them to be, and that's when he remembered.
He and his son Anthony, they'd witnessed a fight on Frank Street.
Anthony's father put two and two together and let me know that he and Anthony had actually intervened in that fight. Because to him, he didn't know that it had anything to do with the murder, and so he didn't think to mention it because it's not uncommon to find teenagers, fighting in the streets. During the fight, Quinteris Miller was knocked unconscious, but the male subject who was assaulting him did not stop hitting him even though he was unconscious. So Anthony and his father intervened to prevent Mr. Miller from getting more injuries while he was unconscious on the ground, and they helped break up the fight.
This is it. This is the connection between the two shootings, but it doesn't make sense.
If Anthony tried to help Quinteris, why would Quinteris seek Anthony out and gun him down?
Meanwhile, a former suspect in Anthony's murder is also in custody on unrelated charges.
Sometime shortly after the murder, Sean Durham was arrested on a completely separate case.
Sean was considered a suspect early on because he got angry and stormed out of the card game when he lost money.
While he was in the York County Detention Center, he was not given a bond for his charges, and he desperately wanted a bond, and so he volunteered to work with the police to clear his name, because obviously he had heard the rumors that he was being named as the shooter in Anthony's case. And so he and his lawyer were cooperative with the police.
On August 24th, Sean and his attorney reach out to detectives.
Sean Durham, he volunteers to help police get Quinteris to confess.
He stated that if he was put in a room with Miller, he felt sure that he could get Miller to talk about it and to admit that he was the shooter in that case. They arranged to have both Miller and Mr. Durham transported from the jail to the law center in Rock Hill, which is where the Rock Hill Police Department is located. They placed a camera and some audio recording equipment in a room. They brought Mr. Miller and Durham into that room.
On August 28th, 2015, police in Rock Hill, South Carolina, listen in as Sean Durham attempts to pull a murder confession out of Quinteris Miller.
Quinteris and Sean are placed in a room alone together with a hidden recording device.
The investigators then went to another room where they watched, I believe, a live feed from the camera as Durham spoke with Miller about the incident. And it was that conversation between Miller and Durham that really sealed Hugh Miller's fate. He asked him, were you just trying to get one under your belt, meaning a murder, taking a life? And Miller just shook his head and laughed.
It would have given Quinteris a lot of street cred, and so he seemed quite happy to talk about the murder with Sean. Sean was able to get Quinteris to open up and talk about the murder because Quinteris would have thought that his information would be safe with Sean. Quinteris looked up to and respected Sean. They ran in the same circles, had the same friends, had been through a lot together.
How many shell casings did they found?
And they said they found like 7, 8.
Sean really just approached Quinteris from a position of being sort of excited about hearing the details of the case.
Sean starts pushing. He starts getting at the question that police really want answered. Why? And what Quinteris says is a complete shock.
Why? It would be wrong.
And he asked him, he said, you mean you killed the wrong person? And again, he laughed and nodded his head.
And it wasn't even meant for him. That's crazy, man.
He then went on to talk about who the intended target was, that it was Mr. Beatty, and the reason why he was seeking retribution against him for being assaulted and getting knocked out a week before.
Quinteris admitted that he accidentally shot the wrong guy because he thought Anthony was the man who hit him, where in actuality it was Swandarius Beatty who hit him.
Quinteris thought he was returning back to the same house he'd previously shot up, where Swandarius lived.
He still had revenge on his mind, and so he essentially decided he wanted to go back and finish what he had started.
We're talking about a boy who's probably never done anything this serious before. He's walking through an extremely dark area. His eyes may not be adjusted correctly. He was actually several houses down. Quinteris essentially said that he just popped out. He started spraying, which means just shooting the weapon at the two people that he saw.
He mistakenly believed that one of those two men was Mr. Beatty. He indiscriminately opened fire on these two individuals, striking, one of the bullets struck Mr. Hart in the head and killed him.
Oh my God, man, bro, that's crazy, man.
Quinteris knew that he had not killed Beatty, but it didn't have much of an impact on him as to who he had actually killed.
You know where the sounds from?
I found it pretty chilling, too, that he showed absolutely no remorse. To find out that you mistakenly killed an innocent man, someone you didn't even know, and to show no contrition or remorse, I thought was particularly chilling about Mr. Miller.
Even more chilling is the fact that Anthony attempted to help Quinteris.
The real tragic irony in this case is that the man that he mistakenly shot, Anthony Hart, was one of the two individuals who saved him a week before when he was being assaulted in front of the houses on Frank Street. Anthony Hart intervened for Miller.
Investigators finally have what they need.
Once we heard Quinteris give that information, it confirmed for us that this was all tied back to the August 2nd shooting at Beatty's home. This was just a 16-year-old who wanted revenge because he got hit in the fist with a brick. It really just made the whole thing that much more tragic.
With that confession, that was enough for officers then to charge Mr. Miller with the murder of Anthony Hart at that time. Under South Carolina law, he was an adult, so he was tried and prosecuted as an adult.
Following a taped confession, Quinteris Miller faces over 20 charges, including murder and multiple accounts of attempted murder. Investigators continue to work the case, interviewing his alleged accomplices in the murder, Xavier Thompson and Gabriel Mobley.
G. Mobley and Xavier Thompson went with Quinteris to commit the crime.
They put one another as the accomplice to Quinteris, and they tried to protect themselves. And so Xavier ultimately said, it was Gabriel and Quinteris who went to go do the shooting. Gabriel said, no, it was Xavier and Quinteris who went to do the shooting. So they were being somewhat cooperative, but it was hard to tell which one was telling the truth. It seemed a little bit more spur of the moment for Xavier and Gabriel to be involved in the case. It seemed like they were going along with their friend because it might have been an exciting thing. Maybe they didn't know exactly what he intended to do, although he did take a firearm to go do a lick. They weren't completely unaware.
They tell investigators that they dumped the gun in the woods.
They hid the gun somewhere. We never did find the murder weapon.
Prosecutors don't want to take any chances. They offer Quinteris the opportunity to plea.
Because we did not have direct physical evidence like fingerprints or DNA. There was no video of him committing it. That would still be a strong case, but not a guaranteed one.
For months, Quinteris and his attorneys refuse.
The case was a little bit more than a year old, and we had been unable to reach a plea agreement. The case was set for trial in the early part of 2017. It was actually not until just days before this trial was scheduled to start on a Monday morning that we received confirmation from Mr. Miller's attorney that he wanted to accept our offer to plead guilty. Miller wanted to plead guilty under the doctrine of North Carolina versus Alford, so he did not actually have to admit his guilt, but he acknowledged that there was substantial evidence against him enough that there's a substantial likelihood that a jury would find him guilty. And with the evidence confirmed against him, he accepted the state's offer and pled guilty for the negotiated sentence of 30 years. He cannot be released early, he cannot make parole.
Quinteris does not make a statement or give any details of his crimes.
He was so angry, so bent on getting one guy that he didn't care who else had to get hurt along the way for him to get that revenge against just one person. So in his case, an entire family was traumatized. There were an elderly woman and a pregnant woman and children who their lives were put at risk when Quinteris shot up their home. Obviously, an innocent man, Anthony, lost his life over this, and ultimately, Quinteris never got the revenge he wanted.
Part of the tragedy is that he didn't just take Anthony Hart's life, he threw his own life away. And over something as just trivial as being knocked out in a fight. You know, I think that it's clear from his actions, mistakenly shooting the wrong person, that he's a very dangerous person. And his propensity for violence is obvious from the facts and the evidence in the case.
Anthony's killer was caught, and he is getting the consequences for what he did to Anthony. But I'm sure that his family would rather have Anthony alive today than, you know, another young man in prison.
There's just something about Anthony Hart acting as a good Samaritan and intervening for this man who ultimately killed him that just would be so hard for me, I think, to stomach as a family member.
Like, this guy literally was helping you out, and, you know, you not paying attention, or you just filled with rage and want a retaliation, just come out and just start shooting, and not knowing you just took the life of the guy that helped you out. It was crazy. It was just stupid. That shows you what type of person Anthony is. A very, you know, kind person, will give you the shirt off his back and, you know, help anybody in need.
Knoxville, Tennessee is a college town nestled in the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains.
We have the University of Tennessee here, which is the major public flagship university of the University of Tennessee system. The Smoky Mountain National Forest, one of the most visited national parks in the country, is here close by to Knoxville.
It's Sunday, October 29th, 2017, just after 10:30 p.m., when the Knoxville Police Department receives a flurry of 911 calls.
Knox County 911. There is someone who had been shot. They're lying on the ground. There's a bunch of blood.
Police are dispatched to a neighborhood in South Knoxville.
That location is kind of a residential area. a place that's not associated typically with this kind of activity.
When officers arrive on scene, there's a victim laying in the road. There's blood everywhere.
The unidentified man appears lifeless, with an apparent gunshot wound to the head.
It was very clear that there was absolutely nothing they could do for this man, and he was pronounced dead at the scene.
One of the first things you want to do as an investigator on a scene like this is figure out who the victim is.
They bring out a small device. It's an integrated automatic fingerprint identification system. If he's been arrested previously, he's applied for professional license, been in the Army, those fingerprints are in that system.
They were able to get his identity through fingerprint identification there at the scene. It was a young man named Deondis Billings, who was 27 years old at the time.
This is the first puzzle piece. We have a victim. How did all of this happen? What led to this?
Born in 1990, Deondis Billings grew up in Knoxville with his mother, father, and siblings.
Deondis was the baby, and he was spoiled rotten, and his daddy spoiled him, and I spoiled him to a certain extent.
Deondis was a very sweet kid. The biggest smile, loved to laugh, just loved to have fun. And as he grew up, he was a sweet teenager.
Deondis' teachers didn't always appreciate his sense of humor.
As a student, he always got in trouble all the time. I was at the school every time he turned around, class clowning and talking back, just anything, he got in trouble.
Being a class clown is one thing, but his family truly never imagined that he would be in trouble with the law.
But when Deondis was still a teenager, he was convicted in connection with an armed robbery and sentenced to 5 years in prison. His family was stunned.
Deondis wasn't raised in the streets, but he did get in trouble, and he had a visitor every week. Me and his dad would take turns. I would go 1 week, his dad would go 1 week.
So they made sure he constantly had visits. You know, he never felt alone.
Deondis served his time and was released in 2014.
When he went to jail, he was a teenager. When he came home, he was an adult. So things are different now. Technology's different, everything is different. So you have that adjustment period. So he's making the adjustment back to freedom, so to speak.
It did make him hard. He used to tell me, jail, it'll turn you a different kind of way, and it makes you hard, and you have to look out for yourself. He said, you sleep light.
While in prison, Deondis made the best use of his time, getting his GED, and when he got out, worked for a maintenance and repair company.
He was wanting to buy a house and start trying to flip the houses. That was his goal. He said, if I could get one house, I can start flipping.
Deondis' best friend. J-Rock and Deondis were real like brothers, really, really close. And J-Rock he was just so hurt.
Deondis took comfort in his family and in the arms of a new love interest, Zakia.
He did have a girlfriend, and he told me he was going to marry her. He said, Auntie, she's special. she's a school teacher. I said, she is. And he said, yeah.
When I seen him one day, he just had the biggest smile on his face, and he was really happy.
But on October 29th, just 3 months after the death of his best friend, 27-year-old Deondis lies dead in the middle of a South Knoxville road. KPD detectives arrive on the scene.
No shell casings were found. There's a few personal effects, such as a hat and a cell phone case. No ID anywhere, no vehicle.
He had been shot 3 times in the head, and there were tread marks on him, left obviously by a vehicle.
It looked like the person who shot him pushed him out of the vehicle and maybe in their haste to leave the scene, ran over him.
They didn't find a vehicle that belonged to him, and they didn't find a vehicle that looked like it had damage from running over him.
With little physical evidence, detectives look for a witness.
You have to start knocking doors, canvassing the area, locating somebody who's seen something, heard something, or has a camera system. That is so important.
They happen upon someone who lives very close to the scene, and he has cameras. That individual cooperated. They pulled that video up immediately, and wow, it's all there.
The camera actually has the footage of the shooting.
Tennessee, investigators are on the scene of a fatal shooting that claimed the life of 27-year-old Deondis Billings.
Police spoke with a neighbor who lived down the street. His home had a video surveillance system. They're able to pull up the video.
The video is grainy, it's dark, but it still gives them some leads. It reveals some stunning images, quite frankly. It shows the headlights of a car coming down the road, and the car stops.
Moments later, there is a flash of light inside the car.
A muzzle flash occurs when the pin strikes the primer. There's an explosion of gases along with the temperatures, and the bullet is fired.
After one flash, the car slowly rolls forward. Then there are 2 other flashes. That's when the car jumps the curb and runs into a street sign.
A male jumps out of the rear passenger seat, runs around to the driver's side door, and pulls Deondis Billings' body out, leaving him in the road.
The person got in the vehicle, got behind the wheel of the vehicle, and drove off, but not before putting that car in reverse and rolling over the body. They're able to tell what type of car it is from the video. That allows them to put out a be on the lookout for that particular vehicle, and they're able to get that out to other patrol officers in the area.
It's going to be a 2010 to 2011 black Nissan Altima, tinted windows, factory wheels and tires. Black male driver. There'll be some blood and crime scene inside the car. It stopped tonight, so.
10-12, still all channels and below that.
After they wrap up at the crime scene, investigators pay a visit to Deondis' mother.
The doorbell rung, and my husband got up and went to the door, and I heard him saying, "Why you want to know what is it?" I kept hearing that, "What is it? What is it?" So I got up and I said, "What's going on?" That's when the detectives was there, and they told me, and it was just, I fell to my knees. I just couldn't believe it. And I asked them, are they sure? Was they sure that it was him? And they was like, yeah, we're sure. I just felt numb. I could not grasp that he has died.
Crystal is really upset, but they have to talk to her because she might have valuable information that can help them identify the shooter.
She told them that she was actually expecting her son that night, that he had told her he was going to come by, grab a plate, but he never showed up. When someone goes missing or in this case worse, they go to those closest to that individual. And so detectives did ask Crystal if Deondis had a girlfriend, and they named Zakia. She owns a Nissan Maxima, and she would let Deondis drive it from time to time. It's the same kind of car that was seen in the video.
Detectives leave Crystal to follow up on the lead.
Detectives go out to Zakia's home and speak with her. They're not sure what her involvement is at that point.
Deondis' girlfriend tells investigators that he had borrowed her car about 6 or 7 at night to drive to his parents' house to pick up a plate. She talked to him around 9 p.m., and that was the last time that she heard from him. He didn't say where he was going or what he was doing.
After talking with her and her full cooperation, they realize she's not involved.
But now they can add that license plate to the Be On the Lookout so officers can look for that vehicle.
They enter the Nissan's information into NCIC, the National Crime
phone, and she screamed, "They killed Deondis." And I remember saying, "What?" And she said, "They killed Deondis." And I just started screaming. We got in the car, and my husband drove me to my sister's house. By this time, the house is full. His friends are there, family is there. Everybody's trying to figure out what happened, what's going on. My sister is totally devastated. She's just broken. She's broken.
I laid down and tried to sleep. I couldn't sleep. I just felt numb. I could not grasp that he has died.
Detectives aren't resting either. The morning after the shooting, they attend the autopsy.
What investigators learned is that Deondis was shot 3 times, once to the right ear and twice around the right ear. And this simply confirms that Deondis was in the driver's seat and whoever shot him was next to him, just like the video showed.
It doesn't look like he saw this coming. He was taken by surprise.
A few hours later, detectives get news they have been waiting for.
Around noon on Monday, the day after the shooting, police find that Maxima, and it's abandoned behind an apartment complex.
They can see that there's a blown out window, the door's ajar.
And detectives could see blood.
The morning after 27-year-old Deondis Billings was gunned down on a South Knoxville street, detectives have located a vehicle they believe was involved.
Zakia's Maxima was found abandoned behind an apartment complex on Knoxville's north side, about 15 minutes from where Deondis' body was found.
Detectives can see blood at first glance. It also appears someone tried to wipe down the car. Investigators find only 2 fingerprints. One is from Deondis, the other one is unidentified. Now the question is, who is this other person? This unidentified fingerprint can very well be the suspect.
Detectives then find 3 9mm shell casings. And there's something else that catches their eye.
There's a dishcloth wrapper with a barcode on it. So they immediately try to determine where this was purchased at. It might be a piece of key evidence.
The brand is one that's sold at a local grocery store. That grocery store is located less than a mile from where the vehicle was left abandoned.
Investigators head to the store, where they request surveillance footage for the hours around when the murder took place.
They were able to find a camera that catches her arriving at the store in a dark-colored Chrysler 200, and she appeared to be alone.
They pull the video up and they see a woman purchasing these exact same washcloths, only about an hour after Deondis' shooting took place. In addition to the washcloths, they also see this woman buying bleach spray and some paper towels.
The woman who was making these purchases used her store loyalty card.
Police were able to connect the loyalty card to a local woman named Derasia. Armed with a picture of the woman, investigators go back to Deondis' mother's home.
He asked me, did I know this lady in this picture? And I said, she looked familiar, but I can't really tell.
She doesn't know, but there have been friends at the house gathering to comfort Crystal.
We showed the picture, and they right out the rip. They knew exactly who it was, what they called her and everything. This was DeRasia.
Detectives make another connection between DeRasia and the second fingerprint found in the Maxima.
They're able to use that unidentified print and compare it to DeRasia's, and guess what? It came back as a match. She was in that car at some point.
But how did DeRasia get from the Maxima to the Chrysler she was seen driving to the grocery store? That same day, investigators bring DeRasia in for an interview. She quickly admits to knowing the victim.
DeRasia tells investigators that she and Deondis are very good friends, that they hang out often. And she's adamant that she would never do anything to hurt Deondis, let alone kill him.
She immediately denies any involvement. She says she didn't have anything to do with it. She wasn't there.
Detectives confront DeRasia with the store video.
The detective says, listen, I got you on video. You were there. I know that you helped clean it up.
The detectives lay it all out there for DeRasia. They tell her that they've seen her on video buying the cleaning supplies and the washcloths. They see her using her Kroger card. Detectives then turn up the heat and appeal to her feelings for Deondis. They say, if you indeed loved Deondis, if he was really, truly your friend, you'll tell us who shot him.
She immediately says, I'll tell you, but I need your protection. Will you protect me?
Investigators in Knoxville, Tennessee are interviewing potential witness DeRasia about the shooting of her friend, Deondis Billings.
DeRasia finally agrees to talk, but not without assurances. She tells detectives in order to tell the truth, she has to be protected.
DeRasia confirms she was with Deondis the night of the shooting.
She and Deondis were good friends, more like family, and she had just completed some very important job training and could not wait to share the news with him.
DeRasia met up with Deondis at Deondis' mother's house. He was there to get a plate of dinner that night.
Deondis was driving Zakia's car, but he never went inside to get the plate. Instead, he asked DeRasia to meet him there, and she jumped in the car with him.
DeRasia wanted to ride around with him in his car and talk about her future, and she did that often with Deondis.
Deondis told her he was going to make a play. He had a deal that he was going to supply somebody with some drugs, and she was coming along.
Deondis wanted to stay on the straight and narrow and take care of his family, but he fell back into some of the criminal activity. DeRasia said that that night he was going to meet this woman in the parking lot of a restaurant. When they got to the destination, the woman wasn't there.
Deondis sees someone walking across the parking lot, and it looks like Philip Locke.
Philip and Deondis knew each other because Philip was J-Rock's brother and Deondis was J-Rock's best friend in life.
J-Rock is Deondis' homeboy. He was killed in a drive-by shooting several months prior to this night. DeRasia also knew Philip Locke, but she tells detectives she didn't know him well. She said she only met him the first time during J-Rock's funeral.
Philip then explains him and his girlfriend had gotten into a fight.
I need to get a ride. Can you give me a ride back to South Knoxville?
Deondis says no problem, and Philip hops in the backseat of the car. No big deal, that's his homeboy.
The conversation inside the car as the three occupants made it from East Knoxville to South Knoxville centered around J-Rock. Phil and Deondis were reminiscing about J-Rock.
When they get to South Knoxville, Philip points to a house and tells Deondis to pull over to the other side of the street. This is his girlfriend's house, but it looks like she isn't home.
DeAndis pulled the car up to the side of the road. The conversation at that point was 100% reminiscing about J-Rock and how much they each missed J-Rock. They each pulled out their phones. They were showing each other video and photos of J-Rock.
Out of nowhere, DeRasia says she hears a loud bang. It's a gunshot. She ducked down. And according to DeRasia, Philip put his hand on her back and told her to stay down. She hears a second shot. Turns her head to the left and looks at DeAndis. He has somehow put the car into drive.
Then there was a third shot. DeRasia says the car hit a signpost, then Philip jumped out of the car, ran around to the driver's side, and dragged DeAndis out of the car, leaving him in the road.
DeRasia was freaked out. She wanted to get out of the car, but Philip told her to stay in the car. He had a gun. She did what he said. As they drove off, Philip runs over the body of DeAndis. DeRasia at that point wanted to know, are you gonna kill me too? He said no, and he let her live.
According to DeRasia, Philip killed DeAndis in retaliation for the death of his brother and DeAndis' friend, J-Rock.
There was a suspect in J-Rock's death who was never arrested. Everyone on the streets believed that this man was responsible, but they were never able to prove it.
Philip thought DeAndis and all those who knew his brother hadn't done enough.
DeRasia tells detectives that Philip actually had a hit list of many others that he said would be dropping like flies because they didn't go after the suspect in J-Rock's murder. After DeAndis was killed, Philip drove to a north side apartment complex where they abandoned the Maxima and got into a black Chrysler 200 that was parked. According to DeRasia, Philip forced her at gunpoint to get in the car and ordered her to drive to the store for cleaning supplies. DeRasia was terrified of Philip. She obeyed what he said, and she went and bought the cleaning supplies, came back and gave them to him. Philip cleaned up the car. Once he was finished cleaning up the car, he went and dropped her off right back in front of DeAndis' parents' house. DeAsia was in shock. She was too afraid to report anything to the police or tell DeAndis' parents.
After the interview with DeRasia, investigators take a look at Philip's rap sheet.
Block has a long record. We're talking about 7 felony convictions for robbery, attempted robbery, and cocaine possession with the intent to sell.
Philip Jerome Locke had been in prison and was on parole, had been on parole for about a few months in the summer of 2017.
Investigators get another key piece of evidence. Philip doesn't have a car, but they learn that his girlfriend, Shaniqua Robinson, does, and he often drives it. That car, a black Chrysler 200. The exact same kind of vehicle that DeRasia was seen driving in and out of the Kroger parking lot to buy the cleaning supplies. Detectives learn that Shaniqua Robinson lives in South Knoxville. When they go to the residence, they find the car parked outside of her home.
On Monday, October 31st, undercover officers keep watch on the home.
It was the middle of the daytime. They see Philip and his girlfriend leave the house and get into that vehicle, and the car pulls off.
Police follow the car. Shaniqua is behind the wheel. The car soon picks up speed. She gets on the highway, guns the engine, and takes off. This is indeed a high-speed chase.
2 days after DeAndis Billings was gunned down and left for dead in the street, the Knoxville Police Department is embroiled in a high-speed chase with the #1 suspect, Philip Locke.
They have at least 2 people in the car. Philip Locke, a person of interest in the murder, and Locke's girlfriend, Shaniqua Robinson, who's driving. It's a lengthy pursuit, with speeds at one point reaching 90 miles per hour.
And in Lonsdale, they go up to this part at a dead end. And evidently, he didn't know it was a dead end, so they ended up dead in it, and they blocked them off.
When the car finally stops, police order Philip and Shaniqua out of the car.
As Philip gets out of the car, an officer notices that he has something in his hand. He tosses whatever he had in his hand into the bushes. There's a struggle. Police ultimately tase Philip. After he's taken into police custody, they retrieve the object that he tossed. It ends up being a burner cell phone.
There's drugs in the car, a massive amount of drugs in the car.
He's on parole, and having this amount of drugs in the vehicle is a violation of parole, and Philip knows this, and he is very nervous at this point.
Police bring Philip and Shaniqua to the station for questioning.
At this point, Locke probably isn't sure why he's being interrogated. He's worried about his parole and about all those drugs that were found in his vehicle.
I'll tell you straight up what I'm looking at. I'm looking at you for a homicide, okay?
Then he asks him about Deondis, or DB, as he was known to his friends.
Have you heard about what happened to him?
Of course I heard about what happened to him.
Tell me about DB.
It's my brother's best friend. We all grew up together, but him and my brother was closer than anybody.
Would you consider him to be a friend of yours?
Of course, why not?
Okay.
The detective asks about the night of October 29th, when Deondis was killed.
Where were you that day?
Selling drugs.
Where were you selling drugs at?
Selling drugs everywhere.
He says he was alone that night, moving around town, selling drugs.
You know, thinking of myself. How do you think we do that, DB? Cool. We have a lot of enemies.
We all do. I mean,
The two go back and forth. He had nothing to do with it. He had been in Deondis' car multiple times, different vehicles, but again, still no confession, didn't have anything to do with the murder. Why would he do that?
Then the detective tells Philip about the video.
It made right now you look like a cold-blooded killer. You shoot this guy in the head and then drag him out of the car. Hey, you're on video, bro.
no way in hell I was in that car.
Philip is denying everything. Even after being confronted with the video surveillance, he's still denying everything. Investigators keep going after him.
You sent some girl into the Kroger's to buy all the to clean it up. She's driving your girlfriend's car. You screwed up. That's crazy.
Philip keeps the same composure, claiming his innocence, and he is indeed cooperative. He agrees to let police examine his iPhone, but his mood quickly changes when the detectives return with his burner phone.
I'm not gonna let you touch the phone now because you're freaking me out.
I'm sorry for freaking you out. I don't want to go to jail.
I'm gonna write a search warrant for the phone.
While Philip was being questioned, so was his girlfriend in another room. And of course, she didn't know anything about the killing of Deondis, but says Philip struggled after the murder of his brother, J-Rob.
He, according to his girlfriend, had been deeply affected by the death of his younger brother. And over the course of the several months between July and October of 2017, Philip became frustrated and became anxious with the fact that his brother's death was not being avenged.
Investigators arrested both of them. Philip is being held for violating his parole. Shaniqua is being charged with felony evading arrest. Investigators need more to make the murder charge stick, and they hope that this burner phone that he was trying to ditch will be the key. Detectives wait to get a warrant and gain access to the phone's contents.
On that phone, they find internet searches for whether there were security cameras at a school near the murder scene and the apartment building where the car was abandoned.
But it's his text messages that are the most incriminating.
Investigators found an ominous text message. It was a text message from Phillips to someone named Cindy saying, "We're gonna get DB tonight, and you know I got you." Of course, investigators now have to find out who Cindy is. On November 3rd, detectives bring in Cindy for questioning. She admits to being a drug user. Philip offered to give her some crack in exchange for a favor.
Cindy was going to lure Deondis to a certain area in town. Philip was going to, by happenstance, be there. The plan came together on October 29, 2017, when Cindy followed through with that ruse. And she contacted Deondas in an effort to get him to show up at a place in East Knoxville. Philip, meanwhile, had parked his car close by and was going to be on foot and was going to come up with a ruse that his girlfriend kicked him out and that he needed a ride back to her place in South Knoxville.
Cindy says that never in her wildest dreams did she think Philip would actually kill Deondas. She says she thought he was going to just confront him and maybe fight him, not murder him in cold blood.
Now, investigators finally have enough to charge him with murder, not just the parole violation.
On January 30th, 2018, Philip Locke is indicted on numerous criminal charges, including first-degree murder for the killing of Deondas Billings.
It felt like, thank you, Jesus, it's not going to be a cold case. We're going to know what happened and we're going to get justice.
On October 25th, 2021, nearly 4 years after Deondas Billings was shot to death, the trial of his accused killer, Philip Locke, gets underway.
This is about payback. This is about revenge, and it was an execution-style cold-blooded homicide for the purpose of avenging the death of Mr. Locke's brother, his younger brother who died some 4 months earlier in another cold-blooded homicide. Philip hatched the plan that he was going to start avenging the death of his brother by taking it out on those who he felt weren't taking matters into their hands. Specifically, Philip was looking for friends of J-Rock's who he believed had been consorting with and had been friendly to the person that he believed killed his brother.
Derasia takes the stand and recounts the trip to meet up with Cindy for a drug deal. But that meetup was really a death trap designed by Philip Locke.
He formulated that plan by creating a ruse where he would be happenstance located at a place where Deondas Billings would be.
And Philip asks for a ride to his girlfriend's house. Deondas doesn't realize that he's in any sort of danger. This is his friend. He thinks he's doing a favor for a friend, so of course he says sure.
In actuality, there was no girlfriend there. It was an entire setup to get Deondas to come to that location or to drive him to that location for the purposes of executing him.
Derasia had a front seat to the shooting, literally. She gets on that stand and tells the jury exactly what she saw, and that was Philip Locke pulling the trigger 3 times and ending Deondas' life.
Her testimony was impactful, it was emotional, it was something that a jury just couldn't ignore.
Cindy also takes the stand.
Cindy testifies that she didn't know she was helping Philip set up Deondas. But it was her who lured Deondas to a location under the guise of a drug deal. The state used GPS data from Deondas' cell phone to create a timeline of the night, corroborating Derasia's account. There was also the burner phone he tried to ditch that had the messages to Cindy. The 911 calls, a security video from the crime scene, the Kroger store security video also add to the timeline and how Philip Locke orchestrated it all.
The trial lasted approximately a week. The jury took the case and came with a verdict back within a few hours. They found him guilty of first-degree murder with all of the circumstantial proof from the phone forensics and the forensics at the scene. The proof was overwhelming that Philip Locke had once again engaged in violent conduct, which is a pattern that he's had his whole life.
When we received the verdict, I feel a sense of relief. Justice is never really served because my nephew is gone. Nothing can bring him back. But at the same time, I wanted someone to be punished for taking his life, to have to serve time for taking his life.
In Tennessee, the judge does sentencing. In this particular case, he was sentenced to life in prison for the homicide of Deondis Billings.
Philip will have to serve 51 years in prison before being eligible for parole. And in addition to that, the judge tacked on another 30 years for his conviction on carjacking, robbery, and gun charges.
I was very happy. And he got 51 plus 30. And I was very happy.
He's going to regret the day that he ever pulled the trigger because he'll never get out.
With Philip behind bars, Deondis' family is left to grapple with their grief.
I'm just now grasping that my child is gone. I know he was gone all along, but I've been able to try to cope a little better with it. I had to seek counseling, a lot of counseling. I'm just able now to really get where I could cope.
I feel like in the end, Deondis was in a good space. Spiritually, I find solace in knowing that Deondis is in heaven.
She was about her daughter all day, every day. Outside of work, she was with her daughter.
We were trying to figure out what went wrong, but nobody heard from her. She just said, I'm gonna go see a friend.
Family members were back in this neighborhood again today, passing out flyers.
This is more than just a missing person.
An anonymous tip came in, and that 6 people were involved. They wanted to teach her a lesson. Nobody just stepped up to stop.
Washington, D.C., capital of the United States, home to over 650,000 residents. The city is policed by officers over 7 districts.
We have District 1, which encompasses like downtown. District 2 is Upper Northwest, and the 7th Police District. It encompasses parts of Southwest and Southeast DC. It's a very diverse community. There are some very lovely neighborhoods tucked away in the 7th District. There's also historical marks, Frederick Douglass home, things of that nature. So it's a lot of good things over there. And then
you may end up risking it all.
She even wrote a song about the relationship of her being Bonnie and him being Clyde.
Some people want to stay out there, and it's too late to grab them back in to save them.
I remember praying, like, God, if this is meant for me to die, please let it be fast.
What happened to Bonnie? What happened to the ride or die person that you claim to be?
The gun comes out and he shoots.
I'm shaking so bad, and he's like, the devil told me to take this, so ha ha ha.
March 2nd, 2017. It's Thursday afternoon in the sprawling Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex.
Dallas is a very vibrant city, full of cultural and ethnic diversity.
Dallas has always been larger than life.
But at 2:40 p.m., the hustle and bustle is pierced by the sound of gunshots.
This was in Oak Cliff, the southern end of town. That area is kind of known for being the higher crime half of the city.
A local shop owner was the first one to call 911.
He said after hearing the gunshots, he saw a young man lying in the streets, severely injured.
First responders race to the scene and find the victim unresponsive on the ground.
They do all they can to try to revive this young man.
They go to intervene to see if there's any life-sustaining treatments that they can do, but he's already deceased.
First responders locate the victim's driver's license and identify him as 19-year-old Drakeiston Alex. Drakeiston Alex had already touched many lives at a young age.
He was an awesome kid, full of life. There's never a dull moment with him, I swear. He's a good kid.
He was the clown of the bunch. He's very athletic. He loved flipping, jumping off of anything, buildings, houses, cars, it didn't matter.
Drakeiston's charming personality made him popular with the ladies.
They're like, oh, Dre, oh, Dre. They love him, though, because he's so funny.
1-year-old, but he had a child on the way.
He was a good father to those kids, too. He stepped in. He was a good dad, a crazy one, but he was good. He's a big kid himself.
As a soon-to-be father of 2, Drakeiston was determined to provide a solid future for his kids.
He wanted to be a rapper, but, you know, he was an athlete.
He always wanted to be like a football player, a basketball player.
If he wanted to do something, he was gonna do it. Like, he would never be told no, that you can't do it. Yes, the sky is the limit.
But now, Drakeiston Alex lies dead in the middle of a city street, gunned down in broad daylight.
So detectives get to the scene and they begin looking for evidence in the crime.
I was the lead detective on this case. You just show up and we kind of figure it out as we go.
They determined that Drakeiston was wounded in his hip, which severed a major artery, and that's what ultimately caused his death.
There were some spent casings. Those were .380 casings.
Detectives turn to the witnesses at the scene, hoping they can provide more information about what happened.
Unfortunately, the witnesses didn't see the whole thing. They only saw the aftermath.
They heard the shots, came out to see what was going on, and found him lying on the ground in a pool of blood.
However, the shop owner who made the initial 911 call has some good news for detectives.
He tells them there's a security camera on the outside of his shop that very well could have captured the full crime.
It was pointing in the direction that witnesses described the event happening.
When detectives get their hands on the footage, it's just what they're hoping for.
The footage doesn't appear to be high quality, but it does capture the murder.
The video begins with Drakeiston casually walking through the parking lot.
He's just walking through the parking lot and then starts walking across the street.
He's moving in one direction, and he turns his head as if someone has called out to him.
That's when another man enters the frame.
It appears that the communications between the two were developing into a more of aggressive conversation based on the body language of the two individuals.
Like he's kind of in the middle of the street and kind of keeps backing up, you know, and trying to walk off.
That's when the other man pulls out a gun.
The gun comes out and he shoots.
At that point, Drakeiston takes off running, and he's got a limp.
You can see him point and shoot as Alex is running just out of frame where he collapses and dies.
It's soon clear the shooter wasn't working alone.
The shooter essentially is seen turning and running towards the PT Cruiser.
The passenger door swings open, and the shooter jumps into the car, and this PT Cruiser speeds away.
Detectives now know that they have multiple suspects to look for before they can solve this crime.
On March 2nd, 2017, Dallas homicide detectives are trying to solve the tragic murder of 19-year-old Drakeiston Alex.
I got a phone call and said, your son has been shot. Then I'm heart just pounding, and I'm crying, and I'm outraged.
She was just screaming, can't breathe. I said, what's going on? Dre just got killed. She's like, what? It was crazy.
Fortunately, detectives are one step closer to locating the suspected killers after reviewing surveillance footage of the incident.
They could get a general description of their suspect. He appeared to be a black man about 5'8" and 140 pounds.
They've also determined that he had an accomplice. After the shooting, he ran and jumped into a PT Cruiser that then sped away from the scene.
The footage is too grainy to make out the vehicle's license plate number, so investigators quickly circulate screenshots of the car online.
We can immediately put something on the blog and on Facebook, and it takes off.
Almost immediately, they begin receiving calls to their tip line.
The police get a call from someone who identified the driver as an Ashley Coleman.
When the police pulled Ashley's DMV records, they were able to determine that she was the owner of a PT Cruiser.
As patrol officers begin scouring the city for Ashley and her PT Cruiser, detectives begin looking into their new suspect. 27-year-old Ashley Coleman was no stranger to hardship.
Well, my childhood coming up was hard. It was 4 of us, and my mom, she worked, but, she was a single mother. I was a victim of sexual abuse. I encountered it a few times coming up.
I think anytime that someone places you in a scenario that steals your innocence, it's something that you carry with you for the rest of your life.
It affected my self-esteem in a major way. I always felt like I wasn't pretty enough, or I was too dark, or maybe it's my gap, or maybe it's because I didn't have a lot.
As a teen, Ashley began to act out.
I was in juvenile from 15 to 18, so I didn't experience adolescence. I started to express myself with music. The things that I couldn't talk about, I wrote about. And then one day I began to write and talk it instead of singing it.
She continued to write poetry, which ultimately turned into her wanting to become a rapper.
Eventually, Ashley worked up the courage to share her music online. But her positive messaging largely fell on deaf ears.
I was doing motivational music, but nobody wants to hear motivational music. I noticed I would get 200 views or 300 views.
She ended up having beef with another local rapper who was trying to tear Ashley down. But Ashley wrote a song about her.
Nobody's excited about anything positive. Most people aren't, not from where I'm from. And so I changed a lot of who I was and a lot of what I was doing to make it fit.
The change in direction got her noticed almost instantly.
I woke up with 100,000 views, maybe I should just go for it. And that's what I started to do. So then I started to build this whole image, just like a gangster boo type.
Ashley's music became so popular that venues began booking her to perform live.
I was starting to get a buzz in my city.
Based off of this kind of new persona that she's developed, she's doing shows now throughout Dallas. Ashley was getting all this notoriety. She's become a local celebrity.
And it was at one of her local performances that Ashley met someone who would change her life forever.
I'm doing this one party, and this guy, he's in the crowd. I glanced at him, and I thought passed, he's fine,
And this young man starts throwing money at her in the stage.
So I'm okay, okay, they feeling the song. I'm rocking with it.
Back at home after her set, Ashley noticed a DM from her handsome admirer, Hakeem Griffin White.
He's like, dang, I've been trying to get at you for so long, and then I throw a little money and you finally like and hit me back.
Ashley agreed to meet up with Hakeem for a date, and the rest was history.
That is kind of where things grow and develop in their connection.
He began to take me to do all these things that I missed out on, like go-karting, you know, movies. We would go watch like the airplanes take off, ponds to feed the ducks.
Before long, Ashley and Hakeem became one of the new power couples in Dallas's hip-hop scene.
Every party we would go to, he was popular, so like everybody knew him, and it was like my clout with his clout, so it was like this big thing.
Is Hakeem Griffin White the young man from the surveillance video that gunned down Drakeiston Alex?
He matched the description of the individual detectives have been looking for. Police are shocked to discover that he's only 17, 10 years younger than Ashley.
Soon, investigators receive a bombshell piece of evidence that solidifies their theory.
Ashley and Hakeem are flaunting guns on Facebook and are talking about going to shoot someone.
I said, what the? I'm like, man, this cat is crazy. What is he on? Put the guns down. If you gotta shoot or kill somebody, you don't need them. If you gotta put an image out just to get some friends, you don't need them. Everybody wants this bad image until it's time to go meet the judge. That's when they want to cry for their mamas and stuff. You wasn't crying when you was out there doing the crime, so don't cry now, you know? You do stuff like that, you go kill somebody, just put the shoe on the other foot, we're right here with you.
I have type 2 diabetes, but I'm mad.
In March of 2017, Dallas investigators suspect Ashley Coleman and her boyfriend, Hakeem Griffin White, are behind the murder of 19-year-old Drakeiston Alex.
They confirm that Ashley owns the same type of vehicle that was spotted fleeing from the crime scene. And Hakeem is a match for the description of the shooter.
Their theory is soon bolstered by an unexpected piece of evidence. A video posted on Facebook Live shows Ashley and Hakeem boasting about a life of crime.
The video had been recorded just a few hours before the shooting.
The two of them are loading weapons. They were talking about wanting to murder or harm someone.
That's how I do things, bro. I sit the bullets down to the other side, bro. I said the bullet, look, I really need, you see how them all touch? So I really need them, you hear me? Man, that was y'all. See, I'm put that way last time.
The video was like he in a rage and, oh yeah, and you flicking the gun.
I told myself, if I go back to this for life, look, real talk, bro.
The gun Hakeem has in the video is a .380, the same caliber as the casings found at the murder scene.
Detectives are convinced the person Hakeem is threatening in the video is Drakeiston. It's a hard pill to swallow for Drakeiston's family.
Hakeem was a friend of his, but was a young guy that in my house I fed, slept, clothed, you know, so that hurt me even more.
Hakeem and Drakeiston essentially grew up together, but they hadn't been close in a while.
I had just seen him walking and I was talking to him and, you know, telling him how much I missed them and, you know, keep your head up, stay out of trouble.
I said, what the? I'm like, man, this cat is crazy. What is he on? I don't know if they was on drugs or what, but I still can't figure out why would they do that to my nephew.
Investigators fear that if they don't find Ashley and Hakeem soon, there could be more victims.
We had covert units that were going out, trying to find him at these different locations.
They're surveilling all known addresses.
On March 3rd, police finally get a hit on the couple's whereabouts.
The police find the PT Cruiser in front of one of the addresses.
Investigators want to make sure the suspects are in the house before they make a move.
They stake out the residence, waiting for Ashley or Hakeem to make an appearance.
But as they lay in wait, another vehicle pulls up. It's a large U-Haul truck.
A driver gets out of the U-Haul and goes into the house.
That's when police spot Ashley Coleman.
She and the U-Haul driver began loading things into the truck.
Investigators suspect that this means Ashley and Hakeem are planning on making a run for it.
We knew that they were planning on going somewhere because they loaded up a U-Haul.
When Ashley and the U-Haul driver are finished, investigators trail them as they drive off.
Ashley drives separately from the U-Haul.
The police begin to follow the vehicles, the PT Cruiser in front of the U-Haul and the police behind.
It's pretty easy to follow a U-Haul and not lose a U-Haul.
Ashley and the PT Cruiser are a different story.
Or we lose the PT Cruiser.
With Ashley now in the wind, police hit their sirens and pull over the U-Haul for further investigation.
So we get the U-Haul and it ends up being this homeless guy.
He appears to be confused as to what's going on.
According to the homeless man, he had just met Ashley and her boyfriend earlier that day.
They're like, hey, will you help us move? We'll pay you, feed you, whatever.
Thinking nothing of it, this homeless man agreed to help them with their move. He had no idea they were suspects in a murder case.
After arranging for the U-Haul and its contents to be transported back to police headquarters, investigators continue surveillance on Ashley's address.
They're hoping that Ashley or Hakeem will return before they flee the area.
Around 4 p.m., they're in luck.
They see a white car pull up to the house.
Ashley gets out and goes into the house. When she comes outside, she gets back into the white car and they drove off.
This time, police move in quickly.
They hit their siren and instructed the vehicle to pull over.
The driver of the vehicle follows police orders, but Ashley has other ideas.
When the police attempt to stop the vehicle, Ashley jumps out of the car.
She takes off running, and now police are at risk of losing her for a second time.
On March 3rd, 2017, Dallas police finally have their murder suspect, Ashley Coleman, in their crosshairs.
The police lost her once in her PT Cruiser, but then saw her again getting into a white sedan.
When the police attempt to stop the vehicle, Ashley jumps out of the car and runs away, evading the police officers again.
She just kind of disappeared.
To investigators' dismay, the driver of the white sedan seems clueless.
So similarly to the experience of the U-Haul driver, this driver of the white car had no information about what was going on.
He too met Ashley for the first time that day, just after she evaded the police the first time.
He's like, I don't know, this lady just flagged me down and said she needed help. So like I was trying to do the Good Samaritan thing. She said, I need a ride, my car broke down.
The driver of the white car was able to give the detectives the location of the PT Cruiser.
As Ashley and Hakeem continue to evade police, they remain active on social media.
Hakeem and Ashley decide to take to social media in an attempt to defend themselves from the allegations surrounding this murder.
They're denying the murder, any involvement with this shooting. She didn't shoot anybody. It's all her rap persona. It's all related to this character that she built, and it's not who she is at all.
The drama behind Drake Easton Alex's murder grows Ashley's already substantial online following.
It definitely quadrupled her social media following overnight. Now the whole city's heard of her. But everybody starts forming their opinion.
Thanks to the couple's unwillingness to lay low, investigators stay hot on their trail.
Some of our covert guys, this is their full-time job, right? It's just kind of staying under the radar and just kind of figuring out where people are going. And they ended up finding them at this motel.
This time, police move in right away.
So I'm sitting in a hotel. I'm asleep, actually. I had took like 6 Seroquels because I was on those medications at the time for depression. So when they came, I couldn't even move how I wanted to.
She was so out of it, she didn't even have the wherewithal or knowledge to be able to articulate anything as she was being arrested.
The arrests are welcome news to Drake Easton's grieving family.
God is good. I just said God is good, you know? So we ain't got to worry about nobody else's family getting hurt.
It didn't ease my pain by them catching them, but it made me feel good that you're not out and to do it to anyone else.
Due to Ashley's concerning mental state, she's sent to the hospital for evaluation while police transport Hakeem back to the station.
When they first started to interrogate him, he denied any involvement in the Alex murder.
You know, he lied for a while. I don't remember it being a real long denial. And then he was generally just more helpful.
Hakeem admits that he'd known Drake Easton Alex ever since childhood, but their relationship became rocky a few years prior.
He just had this ongoing beef with him over just rumors.
I cannot tell you what happened. I know probably 2 years to 3 years back, they did have a little fight.
They just haven't gotten along since.
When asked about his girlfriend's involvement, Hakeem downplays Ashley's part in the crime.
He was saying that, you know, Ashley had no idea that any of this was going to happen. But obviously you're doing this video where you're talking about killing other people, and then you immediately turn around and go kill somebody.
Once Ashley is released from the hospital, detectives bring her in for questioning.
To their surprise, she doesn't have anything good to say about her boyfriend, Hakeem.
According to Ashley, the honeymoon stage in her relationship with Hakeem didn't last long.
I started to see like red flags. He lied about his age for one. He told me he was getting ready to be 19, when really he was 17.
She's 27, he's 17. That's a 10-year difference.
As time went on, the red flags became more and more bold.
Ashley says the week before the murder, Hakeem got into an altercation with another one of his friends.
He tells me, take me up here so I can talk to him. I'm like, okay, you know, they're friends, then he's gonna talk to him.
Ashley says when they arrived to meet up with Hakeem's friend, the conversation immediately became heated.
They exchanged words, but it seemed like his friend is trying to work it out when really Hakeem is like on 10. And so I'm like, well, Hakeem, just get back in the car. And before I could really get like my whole sentence out, he's shooting. I was scared. I was like, that's your friend. What are you doing? So he jumps in the car and he's like, follow him. I'm like, no, you know. So he slaps me for not following him. That actually was the first time that I noticed that he was being abusive.
Ashley tells detectives that night was only the beginning of the hell she'd endure at the hands of her man.
I closed my eyes and I remember praying, like, God, if this is meant for me to die, please let it be fast.
Michael, I just wanted to say I'm so proud of you. It's nice to see you enjoying yourself. I hope you see new things. I hope you feel new things. But most of all, I hope you understand that this time is yours. Love, Mom.
See the world like an insider with Chase Sapphire Reserve. Make more of what's yours.
You always got your mind on the green. Not you. You. Your business bank account with QuickBooks Money now earns 5%.
On March 5th, 2017, Dallas homicide detectives are questioning 27-year-old Ashley Coleman, a suspected accomplice in the murder of 19-year-old Drakeiston Alex. But according to Ashley, she too has been a victim of the alleged shooter, Hakeem Griffin White.
Ashley tells detectives that she and Hakeem were involved in an abusive relationship. She became very afraid of Hakeem because of his volatile nature.
Ashley says eventually she decided enough was enough and tried to break things off with Hakeem.
Me and him's in the car, and I'm kind of like at the point where I don't want to be with you anymore. I'm slacking on my music, and I just can't do it.
But Hakeem wasn't having it.
He flipped out, he get in my face, and he headbutted me. I had never been headbutted before, and it hurts. He broke my nose. He just went crazy. He just started hitting me, fighting me, and knocked out a tooth at the back, and busted my lip, and pulled my hair out.
Ashley tells detectives after that, Hakeem suddenly hit the gas.
He's driving, we're on this back road, and he's going like 100 miles an hour in this PT Cruiser, passing through these four-way stop signs. I just put on my seatbelt, and I closed my eyes, and I remember praying, like, God, if this is meant for me to die, please let it be fast.
Seconds later, Hakeem veered off the road.
I'm screaming. So he veered off, and we go into the grass, and the car cuts off. So that was God saying, get out the car.
But at that point, Ashley felt trapped.
There's research that supports that. It literally is life or death. The most dangerous time for an individual in domestic violence is when they're leaving.
It was like I was doomed if I did, if I didn't.
So she's got her identity of the physical abuse that's happening between the relationship and her and Hakeem. And then she's got this other persona where she's a badass female rapper that she's trying to continue to propagate for her artistry.
Ashley says the following day, Hakeem brought both her worlds crashing down.
So I go in the house, and he's making this video. He's on there like showing all these bullets on camera, saying like, yeah, this is what's going on, and this is what I'm gonna do.
Ashley admits she joined in on the video recording.
So I'm like, yeah, such. I'm trash talking. I mean, I have this gangster boo type of thing going on, and I'm already rap beefing with such and such and such and such, so I'm just trying to make it real.
According to Ashley, after they were done recording the video, they left to head to her sister's house.
I'm driving on the freeway, and I get off and I pull up on Bunnyview.
They just happened to see Drakeiston in the parking lot, and Hakeem tells Ashley to pull over.
Ashley was on the phone with her mom at the time.
She's like, I just had a dream. You need to leave that boy alone. It's either you going to jail or you going to be dead.
Ashley says it was then that she noticed what was happening outside of the car.
I hear this guy saying, please, King, please. So I'm like, Mom, I'm going to call you back. Hakeem, he has this gun up in broad daylight, and Drakeiston has his hands up. This had something to do from something that he felt like he wronged him a year ago, before I even came into his life. I'm like, Hakeem, he's not paying me any attention. He looks at me, but then he looks forward again.
Ashley tells detectives that she's watching in horror as Hakeem shoots Drakeiston.
He shoots. And he runs back and jumps in the car and he tells me to drive. And I'm like, Hakeem, what did you just, I'm shaking so bad. And he's like, the devil told me to take his soul, ha ha ha, and start laughing, like this evil laugh. The gun was still smoking, literally.
However, Ashley claims she didn't realize Drake Easton's injuries were fatal at the time.
Before I drove off, he looked me in my eyes. And I looked at him, I was just as scared. I could tell he was scared. That look haunted me for so long.
Following the incident, Ashley says she dropped Hakeem off and then she went back home, still shaken up.
I go back to the house and I go to sleep because I'm exhausted. He's been taking me through it.
But the next day, she was awakened by a torrent of social media alerts.
The whole city was talking about her.
She and Hakeem were wanted for murder.
My phone is pinging, bing, 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 bing. I'm viral.
All new Monday.
It was an interesting case because this whole case almost played itself out on social media. Sometimes when you put it out on that global scale, you don't know who is going to react to it in the way that they're going to react to it. And now everybody knows. Just know that there's a consequence to everything that you put out there into social media. And once you ring that bell, you can't unring it.
At Metro, get a new iPhone 12 with 5G. Take amazing pictures and share instantly. You don't take yada yada in life? Don't take yada yada from your wireless provider. Get a new iPhone 12 with 5G for only $99.99.
March 5th, 2017. Detectives in Dallas, Texas are questioning Ashley Coleman about the shooting death of 19-year-old Drake Easton Alex at the hands of Ashley's boyfriend, Hakeem Griffin White.
Ashley claims that she had no idea that he was going to open fire, and after she drove him from the crime scene, she claimed that she had no idea that he was dead.
The next morning, Ashley says she awoke to a flurry of notifications on her social media.
My phone is pinging, bing, 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 bing. I'm like, oh, something went viral on my page again because the things have been going viral. Well, it's not nothing viral, I'm viral. There's all these people tagging me in the police because they seen my picture. They knew who I was because I was Facebook famous because of the music.
When asked why she hadn't turned herself in, Ashley tells detectives that she was scared.
I was confused on where to go, how to play it. We go to friends and he was so paranoid. And he's like, let me kill her and take her car, the girl who was helping. I'm like, why do you want to do that? And no. You've done enough. Like, this is ridiculous at this point.
However, detectives don't believe Ashley is being entirely honest with them.
She's trying to manipulate me. She's trying to get out of going to jail by saying that she's pregnant. She was not pregnant. The hospital is like, no, she's no signs that she's ever been pregnant. It's on her social media that she's putting out this video of them loading up the guns. She's actively like trying to throw us off by finding all these other cars. She's constantly asking people for help under some false pretense.
At the end of the day, both Ashley and Hakeem were charged with murder.
Ashley decides to plead guilty to the charges in exchange for a 19-year sentence.
I didn't go to trial. I just took a plea deal because I was scared. I didn't know my rights. So I really kind of got railroaded. I should have fought, but I didn't understand it or the system.
However, Hakeem Griffin White decides to take his chances in court.
The defense isn't saying that this wasn't Hakeem who was in the videos and committed this crime. They are simply trying to persuade the jury to convict on the basis of manslaughter instead of murder.
If he's convicted of manslaughter, he is facing a 20-year sentence versus a potential life sentence if he's convicted of murder.
He had his head down the whole time. You couldn't even look me in my eyes. You couldn't even get up on the stand to at least tell me to my face that you were sorry. I'm not just anybody. You know me. You know who I am. For you not to even tell me that you were sorry hurt me the most.
Based on the surveillance video that literally caught Hakeem in the act, along with his recorded confession to police about his involvement, it doesn't take the jury long to come to a decision.
Hakeem is found guilty of murder and sentenced to 75 years in prison.
They view Hakeem as an individual who intended to harm and intended to shoot to kill.
The verdict is bittersweet for Drake Heaston's still grieving family.
Emotions was everywhere. Yes, you getting sentenced was a great feeling, but it still didn't solve anything. I mean, I still feel the same way I feel. It didn't bring my son back.
What we are going through, this is a daily thing. A lot of people try to tell my sister, oh, it get easy, it get easy. It don't. His smile, I miss his smile. And him, period. That was my nephew, you know.
My son was a kid. He was lovable. He was outgoing. He didn't deserve to die. So as long as I'm living, I'm gonna keep my son's name alive.
Ashley Coleman is now challenging her conviction.
Ashley is currently trying to seek a pardon, claiming that she was a victim of domestic violence.
At the end of the day, you always have a choice. It may feel like you do not, but that's normally just because the choice you have to make is so difficult. Choosing for yourself how you want to show up, how you want to receive love, how you want to experience life can make such a fundamental difference of where you go in the world.
I actually wrote a piece that I wanted to say before we ran out of time. It's kind of a warning. I sit in prison because of a guy's weakness, abuse, and fear. We are not puppets for men. We are not their vessels to manipulate. Every woman that has been manipulated into believing that hurt is love, I'm fighting for my freedom and yours too. One finger can't move a pebble, but one hand can move the world.
If you and your man find social media fame together, it might feel like an exciting ride. But love isn't a ride, it's a journey. And when passion clouds judgment, causing us to lose sight of where we're going, we risk completely losing our way.